Okay, so hello and welcome back to another episode of Project Pro Expert Data Talks. And today we are honored to have with us Syed Md, a senior data and applied scientist at Microsoft. And Syed has over 6 years of experience in the data science industry. So welcome to the podcast, Syed.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Okay, so before moving on with the podcast, Syed, could you just give a brief overview of your role at Microsoft?
Sure. So I'm data and applied scientist at Microsoft, and I work in Microsoft Azure team. So basically, my work revolves around building machine learning and deep learning models to accurately predict the usage of Microsoft Azure. So on a more deeper level, basically this kind of enables us to help serve our customers better. And this kind of maintains the entire supply chain of cloud, right? Because if we are having more usage, we might have to buy some spare parts. We might have to get things in order beforehand, because these things are they hit the road, and it's not like that you can just grab it from anywhere and you can just plug and play. So a lot of planning is required, and a lot of data science and number crunching in this organization we are working. And the important part is that we have to be very precise, because it's a multi-billion dollar industry, and we can't be off by 1%. And you can just imagine that how much of a cost impact it costs us. So yeah, it's an exciting role, and even a difficult problem and a real world problem to solve.
Great, great. I think it's going to be even more exciting for us and the viewers to, get some tips and suggestions from you. So, moving on with the podcast, Syed, can you share some real world data science projects that you have worked on at Microsoft or any other organization prior to this that has, significantly impacted your career so far?
Right. So yeah, I actually have a project in mind which has a very huge impact on me as a data scientist. It has really broadened my view of roles and responsibility of what a data scientist looks like. So I would like to talk about a project which I actually did in my previous organization in Amazon. So as you know, right, you visit the Amazon website, and whenever you want to buy a product, let's say that if you're buying any sofa, or you are going to buy a chair, you see that you have those dimensions written on those products, right? That this is this much inches, cross this much inches. So what we found in our study was that those dimensions were actually not matching. So, in the title, it was saying some other dimension. In the description, which is written on the page, it is saying some other thing. Or they might not be consistent. For example, the unit can be in inches somewhere, it can be in centimeters somewhere, it can be in meters somewhere. So, our objective was to find out that what is the actual dimension of the particular product, using all the information that is available to us on that particular Amazon page. And as you can see, right, the page is made up of multiple things. It is made up of images, it is made up of text, and text also, like you have multiple sections of text over there. So we came up with a solution where we build a natural language processing model, and then we build a computer vision model, which actually extracts those information from the images and also from the text. And then we try to compare them, that which one is matching, what can be the ground truth, and how these things can actually, like which of these things can actually be considered as the correct dimensions over there. So this was a very exciting project. We had to work on a multiple model kind of an approach. And most of the people think that, data science is just about, the building models, and, just about just doing all these building cool deep learning, machine learning models. But I would say that, when you actually look into the life of a data scientist, there's lots of massaging of the data is required, right? So for me in this particular project, you can see that even to before, me building some sort of model, I had to really understand that how does the data look like in what all sections, how does, the distribution looks like, and things like that. And then you go ahead and build those models, which kind of lacks in the project, which people usually just take off the internet. They kind of just do some simple analysis, and then they just write it in their resume, and they call it off a day, right? So And apart from building these models and doing all the data massaging, uh, it was kind of important for me to understand also that what is the cost of running these models, right? That if you have built a very heavy model, if it take hours to run, then I cannot achieve any substantial results out of it, right? So there were lots of steps prior to building a model. There were lots of steps even after building the model, and yeah, it was a great learning for me.
Great, great. I think it has helped a lot of customers who are frequently buying from Amazon, and I think a lot of us didn't even have the slightest idea that this could also be one of the challenges that the team at Amazon might have faced at some point of time. So yeah, I think it's
Right.
wonderful getting to know about that. So Syed, reflecting upon your experiences with such projects in your career, so how do you see the skills or the lessons that you have learned from these projects aligning with the requirements of data science careers as of today? Are there any specific aspects of your project that you think could be
Hmm.
relevant to professionals or beginners in data science?
Right. So I would say that solving a problem end to end is the most important part or most important thing a beginner or a person who is aspiring to a data scientist, is the most important thing that they have to do. So as I stated earlier, that the projects which you find off the web, right? For example, a very generic project which people usually write in their resumes, it's the Titanic data set, right? Where they have to find out who survived, who do not survive. So I understand that it's a good project to just get into this field or maybe to just get your hands dirty, but it would not carry a significant impact when you actually try to apply for a company or when you actually compete with others who have other professional projects into their resumes. So one of the learning is that you have to take up a project which has the scope of being solved end to end. And by end to end, I mean right from taking the data, understanding the data, and might be the cases there are different sources where data is coming in. How do you link those sources together? Then you do lots of data massaging. Then you actually build models, right? So the misconception that data science is all about building model is actually wrong. So you have to do all those things. And then after building the model, how do you evaluate those models? How do you even choose a model to go ahead with? And so the project should give you flexibility and it should allow you to actually make these decisions and it should have that caliber that you should apply your thought into it. So that's one thing. And I think like that, even after building the models and all, you have to deploy it somewhere, right? To so that others can use, or maybe you can use it in some other application or things like that. So having a little bit knowledge of cloud, for example, Azure or AWS, that also helps a lot, right? And I think that similar projects can be found at Project Pro, which is very beneficial because it is coming from people who have actually faced these things in the industry, and these things kind of reflect into the experience. And since the projects are actually made by these people who are leading the industry, you will see the reflection of those things coming into the project. Hence it will be better than just picking up anything off the internet.
I think that is true. And I think a lot of people, before they actually step into the industry, they have, a lot of other doubts, or I think they have a lot of questions in their mind. So they think, I think the easiest way to actually get started would be, pick up any simple project. But what you have shared with us just now, I think this is going to be quite helpful for a lot of beginners in data science. So thank you for sharing that, Syed. Okay, so Syed, I think it would be helpful for the viewers if you could provide specific examples of, different tools or resources that have, enhanced or accelerated certain aspects of your data science projects, and how have these resources contributed to probably a more streamlined workflow and efficient project delivery in your case?
Okay. So maybe I can share something about when I began my journey as a data scientist, right? So when I started learning things, right? So I would just admit right out of the box that I'm a self-learned person. Okay, so I've not been through any professional course or training. So now since I have been, doing things from the scratch, I kind of have a, broader view or idea that how things should be taken. It does not mean that if I am a self-learned person, then you should also follow the same step. Because there are lots of challenges involved over here. First thing is that you have to be motivated all the time, right? And that itself is a challenge because it's very easy to lose motivation once you are stuck somewhere, you don't have guidance and things like that. Then, if you just search on the internet, the word machine learning courses, literally hundreds of courses will pop in, right? And everyone will say that, okay, this is an exhaustive course, that is an exhaustive course, and things like that. So it becomes very difficult for a person who is very new to the field, who does not have idea where to begin from. It becomes very difficult for them to even understand that how do I even start? Which course is best? Like what is the starting point itself? And how can I organize myself so that I can achieve certain goals within certain time frame? For example, if I have given myself 3 to 4 months to learn the data science and its concept, like how should I even take what all courses and what all orders I don't, right? So I have gone through that phase. So I am just sharing this learning that it's better that even though you can achieve it on your own, no doubt in that, right? But it's better that if you have some sort of guidance and if you have, some sort of structure to your learning process, and you don't lose motivation that easily. You know that what to do next, and you also know that where to get the help from. So that is very important. And the specialization courses which are available on lots of other platforms, they kind of help because they kind of bundle everything together, and they kind of give you a streamlined way of doing it. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the Project Pro also has some resources on the learning part, which is kind of structured in a neat and nice way. So that is also one possibility where people can go and learn. And another thing is that, like we are talking about projects and things, it is very important to be hands-on. Just by learning theory, it is very difficult for you to crack anything. Because ultimately, in a company where you'll be working, you have to solve the problem. Just by knowing theory can only get you, like it cannot get you towards the end. Right. So again, working on projects, I think we might be repeating ourselves, but it is the most important part, and hence I'm emphasizing on it a lot. So yeah, I think these were my areas. I think websites like Kaggle is also a very good place where people can go and actually learn things.
Okay, okay, great. So, Syed, any specific category of projects that you would like to suggest to the viewers who are, starting off in the in this industry for beginners, suitable for beginners, basically, so that when people are
Hmm.
actually going through platforms like Project Pro or Kaggle or any other platform for that matter, so it becomes easier for them to, pick up projects that okay, this might be easier for me to begin with.
Right. So I would recommend that, just don't fall for the fanciful projects yet. You should start with the basics. Just see that which of these projects, can be solved by basic algorithms, right? When you start with, for example, linear regression, logistics, all the traditional algorithms that are, you should start with those projects because that will help you, understand that how you can deal with data first. You can worry about that first rather than worrying about what algorithms to apply, right? So you should start with the projects which have these, which do not require you to build some fanciful models yet, right? And then once you build those models, you will gain confidence that, okay, now I know how I can deal with data. Now I know that, if any kind of data is given to me, how I can encounter it, right? How I can do some sort of analysis, get meaningful insights and things like that. And after that, I should apply these models and things. To begin with, you can start with applying all the, basic algorithms, all the traditional ML algorithms, because they will never go out of fashion. And then you can take up with these fanciful projects which have these deep learning things involved and all these things involved. So usually you will find things by categories. You will be able to see that what all projects require what all things. Even top pro sorry, even the project pro does that. And you will be able to then categorize and think in a structured way that, okay, first I need to target this algorithm, then this algorithm, then I'll move on. So it's like taking step by step. If you'll skip this step, then there's a high chance of you slipping, and that we don't want, because we don't want to waste our precious time.
Right, right. Also, Syed, when you're talking about, people should look out for these platforms and they should start practicing projects that are suitable for their career. So, when it comes to these platforms, are there any specific features or functionalities that you think would be, helpful, other than, of course, the projects there, but any specific features that you think people should look out for that would prove to be helpful for them?
Right. I think one of the most important features that a platform should have is that your ability to experiment and your ability to run the code on the platform itself, right? So that kind of gives us advantage in multiple ways. First of all, the platform is accessible from anywhere, right? If you don't even have your computer with you, you want to learn, you just need any computer to just log into your account, and then your code will be there. Second thing is that it just takes away that headache that what if my computer is not good enough to run these models, to load this data set, and why do I need to buy a new computer? What should I do? Because if you even start with the traditional algorithms, right, things can get really complex real soon. And when you move on to these deep learning models, neural networks, and all those things, then you might actually run out of compute power on your machine if you don't have a very machine which has a very good configuration. And it's a rabbit hole where you kind of pick up more complex models, and eventually you will find that your computer is not powerful enough to run. And that headache, a student who is learning a thing, even a professional like me, I don't want to take, right? Why do I want to, buy a new computer every time I want to learn something new? So the platforms which have the ability to run the code, where you can just experiment, we don't have a headache that will my machine be okay or not. I think that is an important part. And both the aspects are good, that the code is safe on the cloud. You just in one place you'll find all the data sets, everything, all the projects. You can just create a new you can say session for each of the project. They are independent from each other. You don't have to manage those things. All those headache is taken away from you, and you just have to focus on the learning. And Project Pro does it very nicely because it has very good segmentation and sections that are there, and it lets you run the code on the computer, so you can resume where you left, and you can actually access it from anywhere. That is the most important part.
Okay, awesome, Syed. Okay, so before we actually come to the end of the podcast, there's one more thing that I wanted to know. A lot of people have, common misconceptions that we see. And of course, being in the industry for over 6 years now, I'm sure you must have also come across a lot of individuals with, different misconceptions about data science, the industry, the career journey, and everything else about this industry. So anything specific that you'd like to, share with the viewers?
Right. So one of the most asked question to me on LinkedIn is that I'm not from computer science. Can I jump into the field of data science? So I just want to, tell that data science is not computer science. That is the first and the most important thing that a person should understand. Data science is applicable in all the industries you'll see, right? In medical industry, automobile industry, in computer industry, of course. But it's not just that, things are there. Even I would say that all the data scientists I have worked till now in Amazon or in Microsoft, 90% of them were not from computer science background. right? And few of them were coming from fields like mechanical, which is considered as a totally opposite to what a computer science field is. And they have been a very successful data scientist. So data science is about you understanding the data and applying it to that particular business problem which you're trying to solve. It's not about you knowing computer science. Yes, you have to learn programming, but again, learning, always you learn a new field. There is a part of learning, right? And you have to go through that learning phase. But it's okay if you do not know the concept of computer science, and if okay, you don't have the degree in computer science or even in any technical field altogether. So I have been, with the students who are coming from banking domain, who are managers in bank, who are, they're coming from insurance domain, who have never written a code till now, right? And they are highly motivated individuals, and they are learning data science, and they are actually excelling in their career once because they have this knowledge of data science. They can apply to their field itself. So that is for most common misconception which people have. Another thing is that people think that the data science field is dominated by mathematicians. I would say that it is very, very, very partially true. There are certain jobs which require you to be expert in mathematics, and but most of the jobs, right, again 90 to 95% of the jobs do not require you to be some kind of mathematical genius, right? Basic elementary mathematical understanding would actually do. So people think that when they think about a data scientist person, like they might be wearing some coat and the hairstyle must be very weird, but that's not the case. Uh, you can pick up some basic elementary mathematical skills, and that too just requires you, to the skills of what we are taught till class 12th and all, right? So basic algebra and calculus. So once you have that, you can very easily understand the concept. And these basic mathematics is used in everyday life, but to be a mathematical genius is something which is not required in all the jobs, which is most of them. Maybe only in the research and development kind of a role, you might be requiring a very high aptitude of mathematics. But uh, you already know, right? Very few jobs are there in R&Ds, and compared to what is there out in market. Hence, you should just focus on basic things. I think that would be good. Another thing is that, just like mathematics, people have misconception that you need to be a hardcore coder to basically achieve your goals or your careers in data science. I think that is also, another misconception. You don't need to be a hardcore coder, though you should know the basic concepts. You should know basic programming etiquettes. But a hardcore coder is something which is, again, not required. Uh, and people should not be discouraged by these things. As I said in the starting, right? If you don't have the guidance and you don't know in a systematic way that how you have to approach and how you need to learn, then you will kind of be lost in these things. And these things are like all these things combined can demotivate you very quick. And I just want to tell that that is not the case. You can always be a data scientist without belonging to a data science field or without being a very hardcore coder. I think these are very important points and the misconceptions which I wanted to debunk. And thank you for asking this question.
Awesome, awesome. Sayed, any secret tip or last piece of advice that you have for our viewers?
So it's not so much secret, but the thing is that I would say that you should, whenever you are learning, right, you should always focus on depth rather than breadth. So that is the most important part, and I think it's true in all the field, right? Whenever you are getting into things. So I've seen people telling me that I am very good in C, C++, Java, Python, R. They tell me five, six programming languages. So I just feel like that you don't need to be expert in these languages, right? And languages are just tools. You just need to know the concepts of how things are, how implement certain things, and then the other things will just follow. Even on the ML side, right, you will see that people are just focusing on the fanciful words like large language models and building these chatbots these days. But they fail to, learn the traditional ML models like regression or trees and things like that. And that kind of basically lays the foundation. So one should not be, again, like focusing on the width of the things that I should touch upon all the topics that is out there, because like it is not possible for any individual to know all the topics and be expert in all the topics. One of the study tells that in 2000, year 2000, we had around we were publishing around 52,000 papers in the field of AI. In 2019, that publication got to 403,000. So within the span of 19 years, there was 600% increase in the number of research paper published in AI, and that is till 2019. If you look at the data till maybe the latest recent data, the growth will be even more explosive. So this tells you that how many research has been done, how many new things are coming up every day, and you just can't keep track of everything. But the basics remain same, right? So if you know how to add, how to subtract, how to multiply and divide, you can learn and build from there. It's the same thing if I take an analogy. So focus on depth and not width. And again, like focus on the projects which first lets you implement basic, uh, algorithms, basic implementation, learn how to massage data. So again, important things, and getting the guidance. Just take help, ask for help. Most important part. And I think we kind of forgot to mention that we have a one-on-one mentorship also available in Project Pro from the industry leading experts itself who are setting up these things. So getting those valuable experience and insights from the people who have already gone through this phase kind of lets you not repeat those mistakes. So just ask for help. Don't be shy, because everyone is learning, right? And no one is born expert. Everyone has gone through that phase. And again, focus on depth. Don't focus on width. Just don't think that I need to learn Power BI also, Tableau also, and all the visualization tools. Just focus on one thing. Focus on the basic algorithms, and everything will just follow from there.
Great, great. Syed, thank you so much for sharing your career journey with us, your experience, and all the valuable tips that you have shared for the viewers. Thank you so much for taking out time and joining the podcast with us today.
Hey,
It was
thank
an
you so
honor
much.
to have
Thank you for having me.
you. All right.
Oh, thank you for the invitation.
Okay, great. Have a great day,
Thank you.
Syed.
You too. Bye bye.